Okay, folks, hope you're doing well today. Well, I wanted to show you this wonderful article coming from Washington State that Washington State has already gone downhill a lot thanks to Seattle, and which used to be a wonderful place to go. Now it's a shithole. And here's the thing, too, is that that seems to influence everything else, and Olympia, of course, where the capital is. So we're going to see how Washington State is more and more becoming a Marxist regime, not only with making it so that now you can just be a lawyer without passing the bar exam. Yeah, things are going to go to hell in a handbasket pretty quick. So let's take a look at this. Fascism alert. Washington State to offer cash. Okay, let's hold on. To offer cash reward for reporting hate speech and bias. Sorry you can't see it there. My face is in the way there, but you'll get the point here. So essentially, yes, this is the question. Are we the baddies? Maybe you are at this point, Washington. Maybe there is a point where you just go over that hill. You've manipulated everybody's compassion to the point where now you're just abusing people. And you're abusing your population, which I'm sure you don't care anything about because you believe in these revolutionary dictates of Marxism. So when the left says the right are fascists and dictators, it will serve you well to remember this word, projection, because that's all it is. Just take a gander at something. Okay. The left are fascists and the dictators. Yes, that's a key component of leftism, is that they love authoritarianism and they love centralizing everything into one controlled group. That is a key component of why I am not left-wing, because these people love authoritarianism. And yeah, if you're going to accuse me of being like, well, conservatives, I will say the neoconservatives are. The old school neocons who don't leave you alone. Yeah, they all have the same problem here. So the leftists are the fascists and the dictators. That's what they say, and I kind of tend to agree. Case in point, Washington. The Evergreen State is now offering cash rewards. Cash rewards. Tell me if this doesn't hail back to the days of the KGB and the NKVD earlier, before that, or the Stasi, is now offering cash rewards for reporting quote-unquote hate speech and bias to the government. Not satire, as Seth Dillon says. Washington State has passed a law. Let's take a look at this on Twitter itself. Okay, so you can see that a little better. Let's take a gander here. Washington State has passed a law offering cash as an incentive to report hate speech and bias via a 24/7 hotline. Boy, this is just what we need. In a day and age where murder and, I won't see it on YouTube, starts with an R, it ends with ape. Anyway, when those things are ramping up because of the numerous laws defunding the police and allowing illegal immigration with mostly lawless individuals into our country, yes, why don't you just focus on things that don't really matter that much? And they don't. Don't give me that. They don't, because this is like essentially anarcho-tyranny, where they focus on small, little, petty crimes, even made-up things like this, which isn't a crime, I don't believe. But then they ignore all the fentanyl in the streets, all the problems with abuse, all the domestic abuse, all the murders, all the crime, the real crime that's out there going on, battery and assault. They don't focus on those, and they don't put those people in jail. They just let them out on no bail. And so SB 5427 to provide up to $2,000 for people to report their neighbors for hate crimes and bias incidents. Where they're getting this money, I don't know. Key findings, SB 5427 would offer a reward of $2,000 to report their neighbors. Oh, here we go, snitching culture. This is the essence of communist culture right here. And offer people a reward of $2,000 to report their neighbors. Great. No trust. Remember, a society where they can dissolve every bond of trust, This is a huge way that neo-Marxism manipulates populations, okay? To report their neighbors, co-workers, family members, and other people in the community for a hate crime or bias incident. The bill would create a hotline to the state attorney general's office for this purpose. The dollar reward would create an incentive to report incidents even this is the kicker, even when there is no evidence to a criminal violation that occurred. So you can just make it up. This is the essence of the Salem witch trials right here. We all were supposed to learn a lesson from that, folks, that these were made up. There were a bunch of little girls that started making up bullshit about people. And for the next 20 years, what did they kill? Over 200 people, up to nearly 200 people in Massachusetts and Connecticut because of these witch accusations. We're there again, folks. This is how progressive and modern we are. We've grown up so much. Okay. So no evidence is needed for a crime of a criminal violation. The bill would create the possibility that informants will simply report people they don't like to get them in trouble with the attorney general. Under the bill, the term bias incident can include expressions and other verbal statements raising civil rights concerns about criminalizing First Amendment protected speech. The bill provides no process for accused people to clear their names. This bill creates a financial incentive for people to judge each other, creating a suspicious, hostile environment in classrooms, workplaces, and the community. Exactly, and that is the point. Ta-da! Yep, fascism, communism. I don't care what Antifa says. They're very, very close, and they're extremely similar in their philosophies. And they like to distance themselves. People like Antifa are like, but we're anti-fascist. It literally means anti-fascist. And I'm like, no, but your behavior is absolutely fascist, okay? So don't give me that with just a label suddenly gives you a free ticket to from your bad behavior. So Washington will establish a hotline. It will be staffed during business hours. It says call takers should provide victims with info, refer them to culturally competent, trauma-informed local service providers, and document the calls for annual reports. Identifying information will be kept out of the reports and will be exempt from public disclosure requests. This passed the Senate on February 7th and cleared the House on Wednesday, drawing unanimous support from Democrats and near unanimous opposition from Republicans. Well, at least somebody's doing something. It's now headed to Governor Jay Inslee's desk to be signed into law, which of course it probably will be. This is sponsored by Senator Javier Valdez, obviously somebody who suffers from a lot of different types of hate and envy. Okay, so let's just get into that. I guess I'm just kind of stuck. I'm wordless, speechless, right? Just insane. Yep, that's the understatement of the year. Of course, it's taxpayer money, so citizens are funding their own censorship and subjugation. And that's the kicker right there, too. Gosh, there's so many kickers in this, that you are funding. Okay, they are using your money to subjugate you and possibly penalize you and leave according to this, the bill provides no process for accused people to clear their names. So at whatever database or wherever they're going to keep your name, because you're a baddie, because you had a dissenting opinion, because you had an opinion, period, they're going to put it in some sort of database watch list that surely down the road, if you're looking for a job or you're trying to get a background check, that will come up, right? Yeah, the possibilities of subjugation and oppression here are endless. Now, they always say this. They always use this is super oppressive. If you want to see oppression, it's this bill, okay? Now, here's the thing. They will always throw in civil rights. We want to protect civil rights. But you got to know, at the same time, these bills are taking away your fundamental civil rights. So yes, the first thing some commie stinko is going to do is going to, in the first couple of lines of a bill, is go, we want to protect civil rights. But if you look at the essence and the meat of this bill, this actually takes away the very fundamental, your very fundamental civil rights, which is freedom of speech. Okay? So you're going to be jailed, you're going to be oppressed. And I don't know, they don't say, it's always ambiguous. Are they going to jail people? Well, I don't know. But they'll certainly probably go after them. They'll put them on you're a bad person list. And this could affect this is like social credit score type of stuff. That's where we're getting into here. Yes, they are. De Blasio can tell them what a bad idea this is. De Blasio, wasn't he the mayor of New York, I think? Did they try this in New York? I don't know. If I don't know this, please tell me. My neighbor played a game of 8-ball and won by knocking the black ball off the table with the white ball. Now, where is my $2,000? The kind of thing people should report. My neighbor played a game of 8-ball and won by knocking the black ball off the table with the white ball. Isn't that funny? Yes, it is. Charles de Glopper, the bronze barbarian, says, do you have to be in the state, or can family and I take turns reporting ourselves to get checks, asking for someone who likes money? This is the best approach. The best approach to this is just see if you can report each other and make up to maybe $10,000. Like, I want some cash. And so I guess, could you call from out of state and then just make up a bunch of people? Like, just make up names. Don't point anybody out. Just make up a name. Because this essentially has no credence. Like, look at this. This has nothing there's no due process at all, or due diligence, or do anything. To report their neighbors, families, coworkers, family members, and other people in the community. So it sounds like you could just walk by somebody on the street and go, there's a guy with a beard, and he said something mean to me, or he said that he liked Trump, or he said that he's conservative or something, and I'd like to report them. What do they have to verify this? Do they just make a list and go, okay, we're going to go ahead and give you $1,000 because you just made up? I mean, could you just make up some fake person? Like, I guess you could just make up somebody. So you could just call in from another state and then just make up some gobbledygook name and then just say, okay, how much is it? How much do I get? I mean, okay, you could kind of grift off this in the opposite way. We like money. Report every politician that passed that for hate speech. Yep. And like I said, too, remember, they always talk about civil rights in these hate crime bills and stuff, where in the bill itself, they're actually taking away your most fundamental civil rights. It's a kind of a bait and switch. They say, oh, it's about civil rights, about protecting civil rights. And then as they pass the bill, they actually take away your most fundamental civil rights. I think I've made that point. Okay? But do you see where this is going? I'm sure if you've got a brain, you do, and you can connect these dots. If you don't, and you're some liberal or something like that, and you're voting for Joe Biden, I'm sure this doesn't make sense. I'm sure you're like, yeah, this is a great idea. Make them live under the rules they forced on the rest of us. Nate Pickens says, fight back, flood the hotline with calls mocking them. That's what I'm saying. Do this. If you can meme and make fun and make jokes and do comedy out of this stuff, do it. Because that's why they're trying to outlaw memes in like the UK, and they're putting people in jail for these things, because comedy does not mix. Comedy and communism do not mix. You cannot weave these together. These are highly incompatible. Two magnets, opposite poles, you just can't stick it together. So I hope I got the physics right there. Anyway, fight back, flood the hotline with calls mocking them. hey, my neighbor bought a white car and I feel that that's racist. Could you please arrest them? Then just keep going on about it for the next 30 minutes. I do. I feel like this is like the plasma bank. You're going to have so many wackos. One, you're going to have goofballs who are going to troll this hotline. And I wonder how long this is going to last. Then you're going to have like a bunch of people who are like, hey, I could make money off this stuff. So you might get some homeless people or even some, hell, some migrants or something call in and just start talking for like a half hour and then just be like, okay, how much do I get? And how do you judge? What's the metric system for how much money you get with each call? That's what I want to know. Like, is there a certain criteria of like, if I see a black car or a white car and I go, that car is racist, is that like $100 on a scale? Do I get $100 for reporting that? Or if somebody, if I report somebody who is slightly conservative or is wearing a red hat that looked like a MAGA hat, even though it wasn't, but it was a red hat, do I get like a 200? What's the scale, the metrics for how much money you can make off of this too? That's what I want to see. I want to see the breakdown like in an Excel sheet, something that the state of Washington could provide. That would be wonderful. Of course, there's never specifics because everything these Marxists do, they make sure that on their end, their laws are slightly ambiguous and subjective so that they can kind of have a wide range of whatever they feel like arresting somebody for that day or punishing you for that day. That's why these bills are kind of open-ended and ambiguous. And that's why Democrats never like to define anything. They don't like to be very definitive. They constantly move the goalposts so that you don't know from day to day, am I breaking the law? Did I do something wrong? Did I express an opinion? And this is also productive for like WEF type policies too, because don't they want to just keep everybody inside and isolated from each other? So that would be like, hey, I was going to go to the coffee shop today, but I'm afraid I'm going to be reported and I'm going to be on a naughty list by the state, some type of social credit list. So I'm just not going to go out. I love going to that coffee shop and sitting around. But if I'm sitting at the coffee shop and I'm reading a book like, say, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer or Huckleberry Finn, am I going to be reported for that? Am I going to be reported? I'm serious. This is the type of state with dissolution of absolute trust between each other. But remember, these commies and Marxists in Seattle and Washington, they love this crap too. So break the system. I can't imagine how this could possibly be abused, except all the ways it's obviously going to be abused. It's totally going to be abused by the left. Casey Maddox says, universities with bias response teams was ridiculous enough. Oh, okay, I never heard of that. This was a bias response team for every resident of Washington, where the bias response team is the police. Absolutely not. And it's just an amazing waste of time. So let's see, Washington State population. Okay, let's see. Now this is going to be reported to a hotline at the Attorney General's office, but nevertheless, how is this enforcement exactly going to roll out? How are you going to verify people's names and addresses and all this stuff? I don't know. So it says in 2022, the population of Washington State is 7.78 million. Okay, so that's 7.78 million people that you are going to try to track. And you're going to put in a naughty database. So we're going to have a lot of people that are going to report on each other, and the left is going to flood these hotlines, as well as there will be so many grifters and trolls that call in too. This just screams disaster, but I don't know if states that vote Democrat, if they're just trying to outdo each other, like the party is all basically Democrat anyway, like the legislature. So all they can do is just try to outdo each other with crazy ideas. And I don't know. But you do see this in California because it's basically a supermajority Democrat. So once you've gotten rid of Republicans, well, you just try to outdo each other with crazy ideas. That's all you can do. Your main enemy is gone. So you turn on each other. And you also do a lot of collateral damage to the public in the meantime. So Darth Flatermouse says communists always create incentives for proles to inform on each other. In a few years, they will be paying children to rat out their parents. This sounds like the Soviet Union. Yay, I'm so glad they're bringing this back. Oh, yeah, China too. Let's see, they already are. This is what the trans movement is all about. Fascism, complete and utter fascism. Representative Hereniska says the coming wave of government thought control. In Minnesota, a similar database was funded last year. No rewards offered yet. Well, if there's no money involved, leftists aren't probably going to make the effort to get off the couch. Seriously. Although, if the incentive is to get somebody they dislike in jail or punished, well, the left loves that. They love, because they struggle with envy and they struggle with jealousy of other people or successful people or people who achieve, and because they believe in being mediocre or less, they do not like that. So there's two incentives. One is they're giving them money. The other incentive is in Minnesota maybe that I just don't like somebody and I'm a leftist, so I'm going to go ahead and report them because I hate them. Because they live on that fire of anger and hatred. Okay? And so towards everybody else. And they've always flaunted for years, the left always flaunted about how open-minded they were. And that's long gone. That was all fake. That was all virtue signaling because these are obviously the most hateful, closed-minded individuals on the face of the earth. So Orwell warned us about this sort of thing. Yes, they did. And I'm going to look at one more thing here. Let's go look at the original post here. I said, yeah, this is insanity. I just wanted to see what other comments there may be. Let's see. Okay. If you have a neighbor, coworker, or acquaintance that is a full-on Marxist, oh yeah, or Karen, and think they're going to make problems for you, go ahead and use cash to buy a few burner phones and hit that hotline up, reporting every move they make, and this quickly. Okay, and conservatives are called the Nazis. Yeah, I know, I'm seeing Nazi regime. You want to see it? It's right here. And believe me, the big falsehood that Antifa gets is that Antifa was against the Nazis. I'm like, no, you had the same goals. It's just Hitler's goal was nationalism. Stalin's goal was worldwide socialism. And they both were socialists. They were both very communist in their ideas, but they only split on a few ideas. And so that's a big falsehood going around too, that Antifa thinks that they were against the Nazis. No, their philosophy is very much in line with that. So you don't get that card. You don't get a free card for that. And no one repents. Oh my gosh. Okay, fight back. Let's see. Washington State is keen on violating the First Amendment protections of its citizens, offering cash rewards for ratting out your neighbors. I don't know if I read this, but it's a good one. Friends and family, the abuse that will come from this will be insane. Didn't communist Russia incentivize kids to rat out their parents? They sure did. They sure did. So, I guess we're using tax dollars to increase social discord, regardless of whether it is legally founded or not. Maybe the better question is, who is trying to cause the disruption in the United States? Well, this is going to go well. Governor Inslee must have a shitload of cash from Biden to provoke more lies and division. That is true, too. They probably are getting money from the feds for this. Well, no, they're getting taxpayer money, I bet. Why these grossly unconstitutional Karen acts during the BLM/Living While Black race hoax, witch hunt at Yale, Amy Cooper, a brazen new form of hate crime legislation were a really bad idea. They criminalized motive. They aren't even pretending to abide by the Constitution. Well, no, they're just coming out in the light now. Let's go back. Yep, Democrat pox, the disease killing America. Yeah, the Democrat Party is the Communist Party now, because they infiltrated the Democrats first. They thought, who's the easier party to go through? Well, the easier party is the party that has more principles, less, I should say, principles. That's the irony. Who is less principled? Who doesn't really adopt Christianity? Okay, who doesn't adopt conservative values? Of course, Democrats don't. They're more anti-religious. Okay, they're more central government is more their focus, and so communists infiltrated Democrats first, and they went after them, and that's essentially what we're seeing is they're using Democrats by proxy to pass things that are part of communist philosophy, neo-Marxism right here. What offends you now? They haven't told me yet. No kidding. Anyway, so just let me know what you think in the comments. This is more insanity to come, but also more material for comedy as well. And if you want, I would, if you're in a state that's still steady to okay, as far as not too left-leaning, why don't you go ahead and tell your governor about this? Let him know that this is going on. In my state, we have a governor who's super lukewarm, and they need to know these things because they seem to be very much happy with the status quo at times. And the only people that push him to do anything are people who are actually aware and have taken a red pill. So I highly recommend you pass this around. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks, and I will talk to you later.